Hi, Miss McPherson. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready for this vacation to start.
Me too.
I know it was kind of hard for me observing you today just because of the excitement that the holidays coming
Yes.
and nobody wanted to, do today. We heard it from this morning. So I really want to first applaud you. It was a great lesson I saw.
Thank you.
And that interaction and everything was just wonderful.
Thank
So
you.
for you to be able to reel them in
Yeah.
on our last day before Thanksgiving break, so that's awesome. So yesterday when we met before I came into observe you today, we talked about what your lesson was going to be, the cell structure and the function, and then you asked me to look at some specific things. You asked me to look at engagement, and then you asked me to look at you and how like when kids get frustrated or what have you, or you feel like you're frustrated, or if that shows in how you handle that. So those are the two things. Of course, the activities as well we were going to look at, and then that communication piece that you have with these kids. So, how do you think the lesson went?
I think it went okay, considering that it was the day before Thanksgiving and it was hard to, or the day before the break, and it was hard to get them. They wanted to play. They didn't want to do anything
Do you
today.
think it just went okay though?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of hard on myself.
Okay. Well, what were some of the things that you think that went well? I mean, like really well today.
I think because they did get a lot of they picked up on it easily. They picked up on the function and the structures of it, and I was surprised that they would pick up on that quick. So and we did the little matching to it and played little games with it, so they were good with that. Maybe that's what helped. They liked it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They like it when you make a game out of it.
Yes, yes. And you had them engaged. So
Yeah.
I do want to say that was a really great point. We're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay.
So what do you think didn't go so well?
I didn't get as much covered as I wanted to.
Okay.
There's a whole lot to the cell, like I was saying yesterday. So it's kind of, I wanted to get all of the vocab in, and I didn't get all of the vocab in. But I mean, I got the majority of it, so that was good.
Well, let's talk about that. That you get, everything that you wanted to get in. So you began your lesson with that explanation of what the lesson's objective and that
Yes.
overview of the lesson was. You were modeling for the students how to analyze and how to figure out the cell structures, the different animal and plant cells. And then students were to work, they worked in some groups and they were doing that matching and completing questions on the worksheet that you had as well. And you said that you didn't get as much covered.
Yes.
And so for me, it wasn't like they had enough time to do all of these things.
Yeah.
So what do you think you could have done differently in regards to that, so that they could have completed all of those tasks?
Maybe not put so much on, like split it up and maybe not put so much, because like I said, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of organelles just in the animal cells. So when you're comparing plant and animal and all the organelles and their functions, there's a lot. There's over 20 of them. So maybe if I would have like split it up, like did some today and then did some when we come back, and did a little recap since you're going to be gone, since we're going to be gone for a whole week. But that's why I'm all in one day, because we're going to be gone for a week, so that gives them time to forget. So yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I could have split that up,
Okay.
and then I think I could have gotten everything, more. I think they would have understood it more, comprehended it a little bit better.
Okay. So a little bit of the pacing.
Yeah, a little bit of the pacing,
And
yes, ma'am.
slowing that down.
Yes, slowing that down a little bit. I was just like wanting to get it all in.
So I know that you and you work and do that pacing, and you're following that pacing guide.
Yes.
And so sometimes that pacing guide is just like for everybody and doesn't take
Yes.
into account
Yeah.
the different needs of different students, of different
It does not.
our program and things.
It does not.
So instead of following that pacing guide, do you think it's better just to, use your judgment in regards to, hey, that's going to be way too much for.
And actually, I do that. There's a lot on that pacing guide that I don't use
Okay.
because there is a lot of stuff on there that I don't think they would. They would just sit there and scratch their head and go, "How do I do this?"
Okay.
So there is a lot on that pacing guide that I just go.
Okay. And we also talked about the EBs in that class yesterday.
Yes.
And so like I said, they ran out of that time and maybe had you split that up and just started with a piece. And I understand, that we have the break that's coming up and you were concerned about getting all of that covered.
Yeah.
And so what you could have done is just done a little piece today, and then when we came back, kind of do a recap, and then start with that second piece.
Yes.
Because then you could also see if they were grasping it.
Yes.
It looked like they were grasping it with what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I was really, really pleased to see that interaction and everything. So I think that's really great. I loved how you were putting up the pictures and saying, okay, so what kind of cell is this? What are the specific things in this diagram that shows it's a plant cell, or that shows after they gave that answer?
Yeah.
Because you always, I love how you communicate with the students in the sense that you don't just say, yeah, you're right. They're like, why do you question them, which is that higher order thinking. They have to not just guess at it's a plant or it's an animal.
Right.
They had to have evidence.
Yes, I wanted to know why they knew. How did you know it was a plant?
To back up those things. So I want us to I want to come back and observe you again.
Okay.
In regards to maybe one of those big types of lessons. And see how you change that pacing up a little bit.
Yes.
And we'll do that, after the break and everything. So if you will let me know what your next big lesson is.
That would be genetics.
Okay. And is that coming up soon?
Yeah, it's coming up after Christmas break.
Okay.
After Christmas.
And that's the next big one?
That's the next big one.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, then what I would like to do is I'd like to come back and see that lesson.
Okay.
And see how you change up that pacing, to be able to get not only the information in, but so it's not as rushed, and that we can see how that helps those kids by breaking that down a little bit more. That'd be great. Okay. The next piece I wanted to talk about was some really, like I told you, the lesson was great. And you just kind of said that you said that it went okay, but you were happy that they picked up on the functions and the structures and all of that. So what I really, really liked, I saw that you asked a variety of questions throughout the lesson. You were checking for student understanding, and not just did you ask and then just accept that answer, you question more. So I really, really liked how you did that, because it got those kids to just not only try to get the right answer, but had them thinking. And I loved how you tied it back to like just real world things.
Yeah.
Like the different animals, the different plants, and how those functions are different for all of those types of things. Because it's not just something that they're learning in a book.
Yeah.
It's all around them, and you brought that real world knowledge to the forefront. It's like, made them think
Well, I
about.
try to tell them you're an animal.
Absolutely.
You're an animal. So all of this stuff that's going on inside of here is going on right now inside of you.
Absolutely.
Oh, really? Yeah, you're carrying out all of this stuff right now. You just don't realize you're carrying it out.
And they don't think about those things. And so
No.
I really, really love how you tie it back to that, this is you. This is what's going on inside of you, and this is the real world. And why
It
is it
is.
important for us to know this?
Yeah.
So I love how you brought that into it. I love that you did tie it back to some previous learning that you had as
Yes.
well, and that they were still able to identify that previous learning when you were tying it back in and you were asking them those questions.
Yeah, like when we went over the taxonomy and I was asking whether they're multicellular or unicellular, because animals are multicellular, plants are multicellular, but some of this other stuff is not. It's unicellular. So yeah, it all ties. It all ties in.
I love how you did that because you were bringing in that background knowledge and you were coming back and see how what we learned. We talked about that yesterday in our pre-conference. See about what we learned previously ties into what we're learning now.
Yes.
You can't just learn one and not the
No,
other.
it builds.
So I love that. You also asked them to define some of these terms to just kind of get them to start thinking about, oh, I remember what that meant. And this, now I understand. So it's almost like that aha light that you were talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed those things. Anything that you think in those activities that you did that you would have done different to make it even better?
Well, maybe I would have come up with different worksheets. So maybe I would have come up with some. The matching is good, but they get confused kind of on the matching when you're doing that. So maybe I would have come up with like a table that they could have filled in, like put some, like say I would have done an animal cell and then put that it's multicellular and that it has ribosomes and then leave a couple blank.
Oh, I like that.
And then, fill in a couple more and do that all the way down to organelles.
Oh, that's
with
awesome.
the plants and animals. Maybe that, because when they start matching, their lines get to going this way and their lines get to going that way. So I just ask them, we kind of go, but I need it to show on the paper so that I can, justify grading it. So maybe I should have done it that way, and then
that could have even been a great whole group exercise
Yes.
where you had it up on the board.
Yes.
And they would have to come and
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I really, really enjoy those activities.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring, these are the T-test domains,
Okay.
and we were looking at the activities and the communication piece. We haven't talked about the communication piece. But I want you to look across here.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me where you think you are in like your activities. Because you had a lot of activities.
I did have a lot of them. I would say proficient.
You would say proficient?
I would.
Okay, so questions that encourage all students. Why would you just say proficient?
Well, because we didn't use any kind of technology.
Okay.
And they understood. I did do the needs of I would have done accomplished had we added any kind of technology, but I just.
How could you add technology?
I don't really know. I would add. I don't know. Especially for this, I guess I could have told them to go look it up, look something up, do an interactive. They have those interactives online where you can just like drop and drag, maybe some kind of thing like that. But I don't think they would have learned any more off of that as they would have just sitting there with me and us doing it, as a group. It's not technology a whole lot. I know how to do it. I just don't know how to really put it in the lesson. I guess I need to kind of figure that out maybe. Okay. Do that a little better.
Well, I liked your activities, and I honestly think that yes, absolutely, adding some technology technology. If you wanted to do that, that would enhance some of your lesson. But I really liked that interaction that I saw. And not just the kids to kids, the kids with you. That interaction is so vital.
Yeah.
And it keeps them engaged, especially on a day-to-day.
Yes.
Like I said.
Yes. It's
So I
hard.
really appreciated. I really appreciated that. So maybe you can next time include some
let's
technology.
see. Yes.
One of the things I used to use was, and it's already made because I like to find stuff
Yeah.
that I don't have to reinvent. I used to use all the time a Jeopardy.
Yes.
That is, it's already made, the template's already in there, and you like literally just pick what questions and you type those questions in, and the kids have to, they like say, such and such organelles for 500 or whatever.
Yes.
And then
I
you
used to do
type
that for anatomy and physiology.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be. I think that would be something cool.
Yeah, I never thought about that for this course, but that would be good.
They might enjoy that.
Yeah.
So just look at different things that you can implement technology wise, and I think that that would be a great way to enhance what you're already doing really, really well. For your communication, like I said, I love that communication. You have those classroom procedures in place. Your kids know what those expectations are. I did not, you wanted me to watch you
Yeah.
to see if you showed any type of frustration or anything, and I didn't see any of that. I didn't. I saw you, joke with the kids. I saw you be real with the kids, and I think that has built that relationship in your classroom that really helps that class just work and work well and be engaged. And you can definitely tell that they like you.
Yeah, I hope so.
There's that relationship that's there. And
Yeah.
there's that saying that, kids don't care about learning unless they know you care about them.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate seeing that. So on this communication piece, I also want you to look at that and tell me where you think you are on that.
Well, I think I'm definitely distinguished on that because I have a great relationship with these kids.
Okay.
And not just that particular class. I have a good relationship with all of these students in this school.
That's awesome.
I do. So when it comes to communication with these kids, yeah.
And it is evident that you do have that good communication with those kids. As you know, this is not like a formal observation because I'm working on my practicum and everything.
Yes.
But Miss Fair and I, when we do these observations, we discuss and we talk, and she debriefs with me. So I appreciate you being open and willing to come in and do this.
No problem.
So I've got a couple other questions. What are some positives that you have gained from our meeting?
Well, I learned that I don't freak out like I thought I did. I mean, I kind of figured, that because I kind of think if I don't know it, then I get frustrated. If I feel like I'm not getting through to them, then I get frustrated. Apparently, I don't. So that's good to know. That's always great to know. And it's good to know that from another educator's point of view that that I can pull this off. That the stuff is good. So that makes me feel good. I like that. That's always a positive.
Awesome. What about when I come back? What to watch that genetics piece? What do you think that maybe did you gain anything from our discussion about that?
Yeah, the genetic piece will be different because there'll be a lot of on the board stuff. We'll do a lot of crosses and stuff, and I get them actively involved. Like they'll come up and work them. So I don't know how, I'm gonna try to figure out how to put some technology in that though. I'm gonna see if I can find a way to do that.
I'm interested in the genetics one. Do you do where they do the
Yeah.
rolling tongue and
Yes,
stuff?
see if they can roll their tongue.
See,
or
I still remember
raise
that.
one eyebrow. I
still
cannot
remember
raise
that
one eyebrow.
lesson
Yeah.
from high school, and
Mhm.
I thought it's just everybody could do it.
No, that's a recessive trait.
I did not know that.
That is a recessive trait.
Until high school, so it was
Yeah.
very, very interesting for me to find that out, and I
Yes.
still remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of.
Because not everybody can do it. They can't roll their tongue. They can't roll their tongue.
I wonder if people could do a half happy, half sad.
I don't. No, probably not. I can't. No, see, I can't.
Every year I've told my students, the first person who could do a half happy, half sad face, I'll give you $5.
Yeah.
In all the years of teaching, I've only had to pay one student.
Because it's a recessive trait. Not everybody's got that.
Yeah, I
Yes,
was
they
I
don't.
was a bored child, so I
Yeah.
practiced quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for your time.
I don't know.
And you said after Christmas break?
Yes.
Would that be, that's in January?
In January, yes.
Okay.
Come back.
So I want to go ahead and, if you'll just look at your schedule and tell me, or here, if you'll just look at these dates and tell me more or less when it's going to be, and I'll meet with you beforehand just to tie that down.
Yeah, I think it's around the 9th.
Okay, so I'm gonna go
Or
ahead and I'm
the
gonna.
8th, they're starting on
Okay.
that Monday. I like to start all of mine like on the Monday and go to Friday.
Okay, so I'm gonna put down here to talk to you about
Okay.
that lesson,
Yes.
and when I can come back and observe.
Okay.
And then I'll be looking for, and if between now and then, I'd really like to get back to you between now and then, if you happen to see a lesson that might take just 2 or 3 days, it doesn't have to be like a long, long time, but maybe 2 days or something. If you will invite me so that I can see that lesson and that I can give you some feedback on how that pacing.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
I hope you have a great rest of your day
You
and
too.
that you have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank
you.
you.